So yeah, I came home from work and pretty much told Keisha I was an entrepreneur.
Well, I was pregnant.
She was pregnant with child number three. She was getting out of the military, so none of it made a lot of sense. Looking back on it, it made perfect sense at the time, but
Hey yo, you sickness and health, riches and broke. Yeah, yeah, healthy marriages though. Let's work in our dreams, let's heal through our growth. Yeah, yeah, healthy marriages though.
I'm so excited.
I know. I'm trying to figure out what we're doing. He said,
Yeah, what's up, family? We are on vacation. I don't know where this is gonna fit in, but it'll fit in somehow. We're in Oakland. So we
yeah.
started we started out at the music festival, the Blue Note Jazz Fest. If you followed our social media, you saw us there. What was your take on it?
I
Was it
thought it
worth
was
it?
good. I thought it was worth it. I think that next year or next time they should have more black-owned businesses like vendors, um, and a larger selection of food options.
Yeah. It was first day was a learning lesson. It was a 3-day festival. We only attended 2 days because they actually added a third day
Right.
after we got tickets.
Yeah.
So we didn't see the Friday show, heard it was dope. Saturday show was cool, but we weren't prepared because we actually followed the rules that
We
said you
were
can't bring.
prepared. We were not prepared at the festival.
Yeah. I got so we had some friend I made the call to not bring the stuff because the rule says you can't
I
bring the
was gonna try
stuff.
to sneak it anyway.
And the first day we paid for it because
We were standing for like
it
7 hours.
wasn't yeah, it wasn't like you were actually going to see the stage unless you got there early, but at least having a place to sit, roll out a blanket, put the chairs down and be comfortable, which we had on Sunday, was a much more enjoyable experience. So I've been having a good time on the trip overall. I really haven't. I did a couple calls for work while you were asleep. Well, one while you were asleep, one while you were awake. But I haven't really been bothered. The kids were a concern because it's their first time kind of holding the house down. We got people checking in on them.
My sister is there, so
Oh, she's staying
I
this
think
week
she's
too?
staying the night at least through dinner time. She's been there, and
Okay.
she checks in on them like at lunchtime. So
Yeah.
the idea that there is adult supervision, I was able to at least turn my mind off for a little while.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many episodes ago, it wasn't that many episodes ago, but it was a while ago in terms of time because we haven't been recording and putting out episodes weekly. Hopefully we'll get back to that soon. But there was an episode called God Told Me to Quit My Job. And it was about us,
Oh, that was a
re-
podcast.
yeah, podcast. We were reevaluating, not reevaluating, but I guess it is reevaluating the landscape of where we are financially, professionally, and all the other LYs you can put to it. I've been on this entrepreneur kick, we both have. And that's my ultimate goal is to have something that belongs to us that we own that will sustain us as a family and generations to come. So we've been working on that. And that whole God told me to quit my job was about is when is it a leap of faith and when is God or when is it not your time? And we talked about how before I came home and said I was an entrepreneur early, much early in our marriage. So yeah, I came home from work and pretty much told Keisha I was an entrepreneur.
Well, I was pregnant.
She was pregnant with child number three. She was getting out of the military, so none of it made a lot of sense. Looking back on it, it made perfect sense at the time, but it wasn't the time. So what does it look like to jump out on faith or to make that transition, especially now that we have two more kids? We got five. Then we got a kid in college, and we got kids that will be in college if they choose to do that over the next couple of years. So it's the gravity is a little bit heavier for me at this point. And now the situation is I'm being exited from my job, which how do you feel about it? You've been asking me how I feel about it, but how do you feel about it?
I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know how you feel about it. And here's the thing. You were talking to one of your friends yesterday, and I was like, as I'm trying to ignore your conversation, this is the most candid and the most I've heard about this situation since it has occurred. But you were sharing with one of your friends, who I'm assuming was a male. So I feel like is it easier for you to share this transition with your homies or?
That's interesting because I don't recall the way I don't think I said anything different to them than I said to you. I might have been a little bit more enthusiastic. But you've asked me when you asked me how I feel. I said I'm good. I'm cool. I mean,
But that's it. That's the
yeah,
extent. I'm good. I'm cool. Like I haven't gotten like, all right, what are we gonna do? How like what
yeah.
you really feel like I don't feel like I've gotten to the meat of it. Like I've gotten the
Mm.
I'm I'm processing, I'm dealing answers, not the real answers.
Yeah, I mean that's something we need to talk about more in detail. Clearly,
Yeah.
I've been processing it, and again, trying not to worry you with how I present it. Financially, I'm not concerned immediately. I'm
Yeah.
not concerned for some time financially. Thank God that
Yeah.
that it is a that we're blessed to be in a situation where we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Mhm.
For me, the part that I'm processing is like with my maybe that's what it is. I haven't talked to you about like now what is my identity because work has been my identity and I heard a quote or saw it somewhere on social media talking about how a man introduces himself, right? When you say when somebody asks a man what they are, they typically say their profession. Maybe true for women, but this was in the context of men. And I realized that for a while, it's been important for me in some conversations to insert my actual title. As much as I tried at some points to suggest that that wasn't the most important thing to me. And I am, that is an honest perspective. I'm over that hump of where I'm chasing the corporate success and sacrificing my family. Along with that, that's been my identity for 20 years. I didn't go to the league. I haven't invented anything. I haven't been wildly successful in entrepreneurship. So this was a thing that without regard to anything else that I wasn't doing well in life, I did that well. And it's for me, it's coming to grips with that actually not being important the way that I'm saying it's not.
Mhm.
And then how do I replace that with entrepreneurship? And not entrepreneurship over family. The priorities are straight, but for me, I have to retrain myself in that conversation when somebody asks, what do you do? Sometimes I'll start laughing as a defense mechanism to kind of get a space to formulate my response and be confident in it.
Mhm.
Um, Now that I think about it, how did you deal with that when you became a full-time homemaker? Was there an identity?
Loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
I'm still struggling with it because although it is an important job and some view it as a job, some people are still like, when you gonna get a real job? When you gonna work outside the home?
Some people are saying that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, some people need to shut up.
I'm just saying.
How about that?
So it's like
Love
it's
it.
always Kisha with the 5 kids. You know what I mean? It's never
Does that bother you when I say that? Because it's a joke.
sometimes
Oh, okay. Right.
because
There
I
you
feel
go.
like I am individual aside from them, but I have wrapped up my whole identity in them. So I've caused it. You know what I mean?
I wasn't saying it.
I know it's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm aware that it's a joke,
Because we
but
have
you're not
five
the only one
kids.
that says
Okay.
Kisha with the 5 kids.
I still can put on a t-shirt and get
Kisha
off.
with the
But anyway,
five
go ahead.
kids. Yeah. So there
You've
was
been dealing with it much longer than me.
yeah. When I got out of the military, it was the biggest hurdle for me because I was a veteran. Like I did have pride in my job, you know. So me just being a mom, which is not a air quote thing, but it can be viewed as you're just a mom kind of thing. It was hard. It was a struggle for me.
So
Being like, you know how I was, like very independent, like I want to do stuff. I want to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you've entered into the space of business,
Hmm.
small business, and creating a product, creating a service, does that alleviate any of it or does it replace it with a different but equal pressure? Or like a sense of responsibility.
I
Because I
found
don't get it. Like, and honestly, I feel like you're like you have an advantage because there's not a financial expectation, not associated with failure, but businesses take time. So I'm fine with
this is my
yeah,
way of building it.
yeah, whatever that curve looks like. But I don't know if you see it like that. And maybe I'm taking that for granted that I think that, but that's not how you feel.
Mm-mm.
Like, what is your sense of like, what is your sense of urgency with your business? And I'm not asking a judgment. I'm asking like, what are you holding yourself to that is causing pressure for you?
Um, my biggest thing is the all the things because I want to do all of the things. And I did have a very successful beginning of the business. And then as things happen, it has tapered off. I still have done like custom orders and things like that, but I want to do more. And that is my biggest pressure, getting to the wanting to do more. Like I see it bigger in my head and I'm trying to do all the things.
More of this business or more
More of
of other
all of it.
business?
More of all of it.
So what is more important to you, or what do you think the logical approach is to where you want to get?
I'm not sure. I know that I don't want to let this part go because I'm building and getting my name out there and more people are acknowledging or associating me with my business. So that's amazing. So the time frame or whatever it looks like when I'm able to add on the next thing and add on the next thing and those things are lucrative, that's what I'm chasing.
Gotcha. So
And
does
now it's more urgent.
I was about to
Yeah.
ask, it's more urgent because
Yeah.
of my situation?
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't want I know that you have been stressed, but I feel like it's an added stress for me to be able to do the things that I want to do. And now we both need to be doing the things that has to be done and still do the things that we want to do.
Hmm. So what do you need from me to help you be successful in the space that we're in right now? Because I don't know. I don't know. I'm learning to read when it's time for me to listen and just hear you out, and when it's
Mm-hmm.
time for me to try to solution for you or with you.
Mm-hmm.
I still struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both in this place where we need different things from each other.
Right.
Um, and I don't the the most important thing for me is that the household, our relationships in the house don't struggle. Starting with us, then starting with us, each individually with each child, and then our collective relationship. I'm trying to be mindful of how I present myself so that like the house doesn't get um discouraged because it's not the time for that. Before and I catch myself even now, like, man, if this had happened 15 years ago, I would be really stressed because we would have like the next 2 or 3 weeks covered.
And that's it.
Like, and that's
Yeah.
then it's old crap. And when I was just home in Virginia, I was talking to my dad about it. He went through it at I think he was 51 or 52. I'm 42.
Mm-hmm.
But he walked into the job and they told him that his position was a luxury that they could no longer afford. And he had 2 weeks notice, and that was the extent of his severance. I mean, of course, he got paid out whatever vacation he had, and I don't even know if he had sick leave because the only time he took off work was for surgery. He had major surgery. He had prostate cancer,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm sure that ate into whatever time he had. But I was out of the house then. It was just him and my mom, and then listening to them recount what really happened versus what I saw as their child, even albeit an adult child. Like, that was some real struggles, and there was some tears, there was some heartache, there was a lot of putting pride aside. A lot of people, donated stuff to him.
Uh,
I just saw that as that coming full circle because they spend their life trying to help everybody else. Like, to this day, I'm very careful about what I say around my mom because she will take it on.
yeah.
So if I say I got a headache, she's stressed until my head doesn't hurt anymore. And I get that that's the parent-child, mother-daughter, probably father-daughter relationship too, a dynamic.
Yeah.
but she's like that with everybody. If I mention that one of my friends that she knows that I call my brothers that grew up, like it wasn't more than 2 phone calls to find out where all of us were because we were all together at somebody's house or just left somebody's house. Like that group, I mentioned a need for one of them just because they asked, "Had you talked to so and so?" I said, "Yeah," and then they went into action mode, and it was a significant thing. But that's just how they operate,
Yeah.
right? And they will never tell anybody about it. I'm not mentioning names because that's not important, but that's just how they are. So imagine me telling my mom while I was home for her mother's funeral that my job is coming to an end. I felt that I had to tell them, but I had to tell them in a manner that was ease their pressure. And I immediately kind of shifted the conversation to how did it work for y'all?
Mm-hmm.
And then we would compare, we're in two very different situations. But again, as a man, if that's how you identify yourself in those, just in general, but even more so when you're constantly in that environment, I had made it to the executive level. And while that's not like a stunt, it was important. Like I felt like that was a major accomplishment because that's something that I said that I wanted to do by 40. I think I hit it at 37 to 38. And you get to be part of certain conversations and things that mature you and you see different things. And I'm like, man, this is not the average experience. So I don't take it for granted. The other good thing about it is I feel like I'm certain that I actually earn those things. So it's not like now that I don't have that formal title, I still have the information and the experience that if I had to go somewhere else, uh, it I would be fine because I didn't fake it.
So what is it that I've been asking because I want to know how do I support you? What is it that you need from me?
I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I know sometimes you catch me having those conversations. Keisha say my mouth be moving. I don't think my mouth.
He'd just be talking, y'all.
Business meetings. I have constant business meetings.
With himself.
And sometimes when you ask, I'm frustrated in the thought, and then I kind of look at you like,
how dare I ask?
Why did you ask me that? And that's not actually the energy. So I think I think we gotta put specific a specific cadence to us planning how this looks. Because today I don't have all the answers.
Right.
I got the pressure of, oh crap, 2 days after I no longer have a job, how the bills getting paid. That's not that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But still, now what happens now matters for the next 10 years.
I'm 100% on board with all these conversations that need to be had.
I do know that I need the after my last day, I don't have an intent to be employed by anybody for the rest of the year.
Okay. Then you have that time.
Yeah. And that doesn't impact, thank God that that's an option. That doesn't mean I don't do anything, but really pour into developing these budding businesses that we have. And I think I mentioned that on another episode, whereas you can see when there's effort, sales go up, but you can't ride that. It's not, it needs constant care and feeding to be successful. And I'm still too much involved with the shirts, pressing the shirts sometimes, or most of the times now for what's selling right now, we're pressing them, and that has a limitation. So letting some of those things go, which may mean taking less of a profit per item that moves, but moving way more stuff, because I can focus on things that I'm just not gonna have the time. I mean, other parts of the conversation where I've started bringing you into it, like what's happening with at the studio. It's real opportunities. Like we got proposals in to film movies for other people. I'm getting out of my comfort zone and actually formally writing the script for a movie that will be written and directed by me. Hoping that there's some family collaboration in that, because that's important. But I I don't feel like this is me fantasizing about something. I see the real return on the investment into content creation, more specifically short film documentaries and feature films that I want to put out in the world. So I I owe it to me to actually organize those thoughts into the activities that will generate revenue that makes sense and also push me to that ultimate goal, and making sure that you in turn actually have your input and understand where my contributions are going. And I need that from you too, because I struggle with, we think differently, and that's a great thing. But I'm sure it's frustrating, equally frustrating for both of us to not understand, if we're not having a conversation about it, to understand, like, I don't get your logic on this one, I don't get your logic on that. While in our heads, it makes perfect sense to each of us.
I'm excited to do, or I'm looking forward to, excuse me, y'all. Doing more things in person because that was a big boost for both of our businesses. Doing the marketplace, so I definitely will be focusing on doing more of that
Yeah.
in the space, just to build up presence and income, actually.
I think we need to do more other content. Of course, there's a podcast, and seems like every couple of months, every few months, there's a recommitment. Uh, I'm fine with I'm fine with putting out content that makes sense when it makes sense. Before, I was overly concerned with, we gotta have something every week, every week, every week, every week. And there's a way to do that, but if I'm never going to be the one to put out content because of an algorithm. I don't see myself being that person, at least right now. I want it to be meaningful. There's plenty of content out there that's, people have systems to do that, right? And they put out high quality stuff multiple times a week, some daily. Some people put out stuff on that frequency and it's not quality. But again, the difference is they're doing something. So I just want to make sure that we continue to do meaningful stuff, and think the rhythm will kind of identify itself as we're as intentional as we need to be about doing stuff. Because people, I mean, whatever our audience is, what we do resonates with people.
Yeah.
People are grateful for what we do, and they're very encouraging. And there's nothing stopping us from how we put our story out,
Yeah.
or what stories we put out. There's no equipment. There's no hurdles outside of us.
I just want to piggyback on that and say that I don't have a problem putting out content either. The biggest thing for me is being genuine and authentic with what we're doing. And if it feels forced, I find it hard to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even this conversation right now, we were scheduled to do it 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. We just never did it.
Okay.
Part of it was me leaving, then coming back. Then there was a lot. This has been a lot going on, and this is not.
Life has been life.
Not what was us, but like that. This is a very different stage of fatherhood for me.
Child.
Of being a husband, being who God has called me to be. This has been a journey, and I feel good about it. I just know that, like you said, forcing stuff, I'm not gonna force stuff to the detriment of us or our family, just to say we got something out.
Yeah.
And even when we put stuff out, it's not from the perspective of, because we're cool this week, we still look perfect. No, if we weren't cool in the week, that means we had some work to do that wasn't for y'all. Because we're real, are a real couple with real personalities, and like she said, life be life. And so I don't know. I just wanted. This is not the end of the conversation. My focus right now is telling a story in real time, as it makes sense, because I think it's more impactful when you're vulnerable enough to share that I haven't figured this thing out, but keep watching.
Yeah.
Versus after you figured it
Right.
out, it's easy to recall. Yeah,
Right.
I just pick myself up by my bootstraps or whatever they say, and I don't want to lose that. So
Yeah.
again, telling beautiful Black stories responsibly, that's the purpose of the media company that we're building. Does it is it we? Do you see this as we or you see this as me?
Right now, I'm not a part of the conversation, so I do see it as you.
Gotcha.
Which is fine. You should
Okay.
have your own thing.
Not yeah. Well,
No?
it's for us, but you're right. You haven't been part of like company or the two entities having conversations about it. But I think your input is going to be valuable. Um, we also need a makeup artist,
Okay.
so figure out your day rate.
I'm pretty dope.
I actually had it like seriously have a day rate, so
Okay.
so that we can get those things done. I'm excited about it. I'm not going to have the right answer all the time, right at that moment, but my commitment to you is I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm not gonna let. So we're not gonna fail as a family.
No.
My watch.
I need all these kids to get their businesses up and popping. You feel me? Not so much. You don't get.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited for all of us to do the things. In my mind, I'm already like starting up all of the other things. I think that's the stress, like the anxiety that I get. Like,
Yeah.
I have to do.
We're gonna find a plan, but right now we are on vacation in uh
California.
I was Oakland. I couldn't call Oakland to mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we did American Canyon,
Napa.
which borders with Vallejo. I didn't realize Vallejo and Napa Valley were co-located.
Yeah.
So that was dope. We're about to walk the blocks around here. We're in city center. So it looked like a cool vibe. We're just kind of winging it, which I like. I don't like overly itinerarized. Itinerarized.
I don't know what word you're trying to say,
I
but
don't like itineraries on
I don't
on
either.
vacation. Mm-mm.
I would like to be doing something, but I don't want to have to
Yeah,
be concerned about we have this thing to do.
yeah. So we about to go do that. Any closing remarks? Do you want to? There's no equipment to knock over or anything. It's just something you want
You done?
to something you want to animate.
You finished? Go ahead.
We appreciate you guys. God bless you. Peace. You can throw the peace sign if you want to.
Y'all see that?
Probably gonna cut it out.
So when bad thoughts set my mind, I'ma just fight them off. Let God get his praise, this art that we make. Soulmates with silhouettes in the shade. He painted our features with colors, more than a photograph in a frame. Let's fly to the sun, yeah, let's go through the flames. Hey yo.